Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Happy Friday, wherever you are. And it is Christmas Eve. Yes, I hope that you have a wonderful day. And of course, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope that you've been enjoying the holidays so far. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you're on school break like me, I hope that you are having a lovely time and enjoying it. Thank you so much for joining in today. It has been rainy out here in Oakland, but I would take it. We needed the rain. And I love being home, so why not? Thank you so much for joining in today. I am excited for our guest and also the book that we're reading today. As you know, we have the amazing SHERRI Duskey Rinker here with us today, and we will be reading, of course, Construction Site, Merry and Bright. And then, of course, we'll have a little conversation after that so you can hear more about your favorite author. And this one is illustrated by A.G. Ford, and of course, we're reading it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Thank you so much for joining in today. And as you know, SHERRI has brought us many books along the way. And of course, one of them we had brought before, It's So Quiet. Not so quiet today. It's raucous. It's rocking. We're loving it here with our guest. Yes, it's so quiet, or maybe it's not so quiet today. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, one of my favorites as well, Dream Train. I'm sure you remember that one as well, coming to you. And of course, last Christmas, we did a special with Construction Site on Christmas night. Many others that she's done for us. Amazing creator. And I'm so glad, honored today to have her here on Story Time. It is an amazing time indeed. It is the most wonderful time of the year. Thank you so much, SHERRI. And she'll be coming on very shortly as well to say hello to all of you and, of course, read to you as well. Thank you for joining in. Amanda West, thank you for being here. Sarah and Nathan, and of course, Indy the cat is back. Thank you so much for joining in. And Gray in Illinois. Well, I hope that we're bringing the sunshine today. And of course, we have SHERRI bringing in the construction crew to make our day bright. Yes, indeed. So please do stick around. Thank you so much for joining in. And we say we wish our Storytime friends a Merry Christmas Eve and happiest of holidays. This is why we come back every morning, because of you, because of this community. You make Storytime what it is. I love that. Thank you so much for sending those positive vibes out there to everybody joining in Storytime. Yes, indeed. From Sarah, Nathan, and Amanda, and of course, Indy the cat, they're wishing you a Merry Christmas Eve and the happiest of holidays. I love it. I love it. Hugs to you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Absolutely love it. And you have also given me so much energy, so much, I just look forward to coming here in the morning and being with you all. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely love it. You have given me joy this past few months. It's been amazing. Thank you. Happy Christmas from Bold and Chrissy and Teddy. Teddy, 2 days in a row, Teddy. I am loving this. Thank Thank you so much for joining us out in snowy Vermont. I hope that you have a wonderful time and you're saying happy holidays, Storytime family. Yes, indeed. Happy holidays to each and every one of you coming from Bolden, Chrissy, and Teddy. Thank you so much for joining us out in Vermont, snowy Vermont. Oh, thank you so much for joining in. I am happy you're here. And you know, Bolden, I can picture you in your set. Thank you for all the lovely pictures, always making me smile. Thank you so much for joining in. Madalena, Ian, and Tudo, it's been amazing having you back on the regular on Storytime. I love the holidays. Thank you so much for being here. And you say we hope you have a Merry Christmas. Thank you for everything that you do. Well, thank you. Thank you to all the parents out there too. I appreciate that you're here with your kids. Allow your kids to be here. Allow me in your space. I appreciate that so much. And together we continue to learn. Together we continue to read. Together we continue to share amazing books. Please, if you have recommendations, do send them to me and I will do my very best to bring them here to Storytime. But you know what? Today is about our amazing guest. She is here, and please join me in welcoming New York Times best-selling author, the amazing SHERRI Duskey Rinker. And if you have questions for SHERRI, please do type them in, and we will make sure that we try and get her to speak on some of them, if not all of them. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome to Storytime, SHERRI Duskey Rinker.
Wow, you are high energy in the morning, my friend. And you're 2 hours behind me. I'm impressed. Good morning, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
And where are you joining us from today?
I am in the Chicago suburbs. So
yeah.
I saw that you have a guest who has a snowy white Christmas.
Yes.
Sadly, have a gray, rainy Christmas this year, I think. But
yeah, no, that's how it is. That's how it is here in Oakland as well. And today the rain is stopped. At least the weather focus says we won't have rain, but it's back tomorrow. But great day today to be outside a little bit, I think, for us. But yeah, no snow in Chicago this year.
No, not a flake. Not a flake to be found.
Well, thank you. And also, I know that you are reading for us today from construction site Merry and Bright. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this before we get into it?
Sure. We have actually 4 holiday Lift the Flap books coming out. Christmas is the first one. And the delivery for Valentine's Day is still somewhere between China and the United States. So Valentine's Day will not come out until 2023. But Halloween will be out next year, and Easter, I think, will be out next year. Fingers crossed. So something for I used to love Lift the Flaps and pop-up books. So something for the littler crowd.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you though, like every time, I'm sure when you're creating books, you have your target audience, but we love books. Even us adults love the flap books.
I know. Yeah, no, they're fun, and so we hopefully will be doing more of them. But it's been really well received, and it was really fun to write. I loved writing the surprise.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and it's just I feel like you're the queen of Christmas books, and I love it.
They're adding up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well, I'll let you read, and then we'll come back and join on the other side.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, all yours.
Construction site Merry and Bright. Make sure we can see. Okay. In the big construction yard, tough truck friends are working hard. Today's big job is done at last, and Christmas Eve is coming fast. But how will big trucks celebrate? Each one is planning something great. Here comes flatbed and skid steer with a load of Christmas cheer.
Whoa.
Crane truck dips his boom to look and lifts up something on his hook. He holds it high for all to see. It's a giant Christmas tree. Excavator is coming through. He is hauling something too. Slowly he rolls to a stop and raises his boom to the top. He tips his bucket carefully and puts a star right on the tree. Don't you love the decorations of the tree, the ornaments?
Oh, I love it.
That's an engine. I love AG, the illustrator, the guy that does the pictures for us. He's pretty awesome. Bulldozer's path is strong and straight. He pushes something toward the gate. He tilts his blade. He grits his teeth and sets up one huge Christmas wreath. And do you see Bulldozer's wearing a Santa hat? Don't you think that's so fun? Dump trucks rolling down the road. He hauls a great, big, heavy load through this frosty winter night with special cargo packed in tight. He tilts his bed down toward the ground, and presents pour out all around. Cement mixer pours out something new. His friend Skid Steer is helping too. She rolls along to pull and lift. They work together, sure and swift. And now the dark and wintry nights. I know I've opened these before. Let's see here. Will glow with miles of Christmas lights. Oh. That's such a pretty spread. I love that. The construction site is looking fine with garlands, gifts, and things that shine. But big trucks know true Christmas cheer is in the joy of good friends near. A time to gather, give, and share, a season filled with love and care. Aww. Construction site, merry and bright. Merry Christmas and shh. Good night. And that's the end. Thank you all for coming and listening. That's so nice of you.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you for that. I love it. I love it. I love just, like every time I look at the construction site series, I'm thinking it's like, where will it go from here? And somehow you always find a way, something else to bring about it. So how did this all begin? Like, when did it begin? Did you know anything about heavy machinery more
I didn't. So I was a graphic designer before I came into this job. And I had grown less than in love with my job. But what I did love about it was that beautiful mixture of words and pictures. And once I had my boys, who are now 21 and 16, the picture books were, for me, the sort of the most lovely combination of words and pictures ever. Yeah. And I bought and indulged in every beautiful book I could find for the boys, for me, really. Yeah. But I had not really set a goal of writing children's books. I actually had my second son very truck obsessed, and that's really where I learned everything about big machinery. And one night after I put him to bed, I put my head on the pillow and shot up with the idea for Goodnight Construction Site. And I wrote it. I sent it into one publisher, which was Chronicle, to the slush pile, which is what they call the place where all the unsolicited manuscripts come from people versus from agents or whatever. And about 3 months later, I had a contract, and that's how it sort of happened. And miraculously, it debuted at number 10 on the New York Times and stayed there over 2 years. And yeah, it's been quite an amazing, beautiful ride.
Yeah.
Very blessed.
Well, we've enjoyed that ride with you for sure. It's been amazing. And as you can see there from Borden and Christian is saying, we love the festive story, and Borden loves the Construction Site series, right? And yeah, Borden
says, so much. That's so nice. So the latest in this book just came out in the fall. Road Crew coming through.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I love that.
This is the latest installment, right before the pop-up book.
Yes.
And next year, we're going to visit a farm and meet some tractors and all the cool attachments. And my favorite farm truck, which is a combine harvester. I love combine harvesters. And meet a pickup truck and do all sorts of fun things.
Yeah.
So hope you'll look out for that. And my new series, which you see there in the corner.
Oh, yes, in the corner. And I think I have it up here too. Let me just pull it up. But yeah.
That'll be out in February. And I'm really excited for some of my little fans to take a look and let me know what you guys think. Really.
Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. And what is this one about?
So Rhoda and Roy are a heroic team. She is obviously a superhero helicopter, and Roy Thunder, and we call him Roy Thunder because he flies through the sky, and when he gets excited, he says, boom! And they do all kinds of heroic things. In the first book, they fight a wildfire. So
yeah, and we have
so they're very brave. They're really good friends. They help each other. They watch out for each other. It's very much about friendship and cooperation.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And was it will they ever appear in the other books, or have you had characters cross so far?
You know, we haven't had characters cross. So this is another publisher. This is Rhoda and Roy is with Little Brown. So I doubt there would be any crossover.
Yeah.
But there might be an opportunity to cross over something with Steam Train and Construction Site. Maybe, I don't know. Those are all Chronicle books, and actually we have a sequel after 10 years in 2023. A sequel to Steam Train will be out.
Oh, and now that you've mentioned Steam Train, how was it working? I know you've worked with amazing people, and I want to talk about A.G. Ford. I want to talk about, like
Don Tate. Don Tate, he's so there. I love them. They're like family to me. I love them so much. But yes, go ahead. What was your question?
Yeah, no. Like, how was it working with Tom Lichtenheld? Because I love his books, and just
Tom is very smart.
Oh, sorry, yes.
No, he's great. And so I had not met Tom until after Goodnight Construction Site came out. But we wrote Steam Train together. We're only just coincidentally a town apart. He's maybe 15, 20 minutes up the road. And we wrote Steam Train together, and we wrote Mighty Construction Site together. So he's very fun, funny, very smart, extremely talented, obviously. Yeah. And now A.G. Ford has taken over the series.
How hard was that transition?
You'd have to ask A.G. I felt like and I know Chronicle and all of us felt like it was seamless.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah,
it felt like that from
yeah. He's
from.
done such a beautiful job of sort of carrying on Tom's work and style, but yet bringing something very much his own to the picture. The first book that he did with the series was Construction Site on Christmas Night. And when I saw the page with the clock tower and the wind, and
Yes.
I thought it was just, oh, there it is. Yeah. I thought, but I'm sure it's challenging to pick up somebody else's style and try to, make it your own and feel comfortable in that world. And he's just such a lovely man. He has 2 little boys, and he's about where I was when I started this series, so that's been pretty fun to see.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. And I know that too you've worked with others, including, I don't know if it's I could not remember how to say the last name, if it's Tony Fucile or Fusal with It's Not So Quiet.
Tony
Yes.
Fusilli. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, he's wow, what a talent, right? Yeah. There are a couple books that I've written that I feel like are kind of a little underrated, and It's So Quiet, the one that came out in the spring with Tony, is one of those. I love that book. I love it.
Where did the idea for that one come from, or what made you write
so I was working, so I had a little piece of verse for the book, and I didn't know what to do with it. And it was all inspired by my father is from a very rural part of West Virginia, where we would visit once or twice a year. And in this old crickety house, and we were, little girls from the suburbs. I mean, and all of this all these night sounds and oldness and creatures and hearing, bullfrogs, and we just didn't have that growing up. So, this place where my father really thought was just filled with peace and quiet. You had my sister and me in my grandma's big double bed with a quilt, like this, hearing everything. So it was inspired by that. And I had some pieces of verse like, hound dog's tail beats the floor, tip, tap, tip, tap. And I called my editor. I'm so fortunate to have such a great relationship with her, Melissa Manlovic.
Oh, I love Melissa.
She's amazing. And I basically said, I've got these things, these little bits of rhythm and this little kind of a song.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to put it together. And so actually I dedicated the book to her, because she was like, okay, I see this. What about? And so it was really, really her wisdom and her little bits of inspiration that brought the book together. And then when they brought Tony on, and I just seen the Pixar movie, or maybe DreamWorks, that he had worked on. Oh, I can't remember where we're all inside the little girl's head. Do you remember that one?
Oh,
I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody out there remembers. Please let me remind us.
I can't remember things anymore. So I just seen that movie and saw his name, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the illustrator that's going to be in my book. So yeah, he's very humble, and oh my word, just beyond talented. So yeah.
No, it's a lovely book. I enjoyed it and it's been an honor really, like having that just having Chronicle share so many of her books, and it's just like every time they come out, it's been like Christmas here throughout the year, because every time it's like, this book I haven't received yet.
I'm so glad that their catalog is so lovely. They're not afraid to kind of push the envelope. And the reason I even sent my manuscript to Chronicle, and like I said, I only sent Goodnight to one publisher, was because they had a book in my kids' bookshelf, and it was called The Night I Followed the Dog by Nina Layton. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, so my kids loved it, and I read it a lot, which is how, but I just noticed, first of all, it had this beautiful paper quality, like the production value of their books are so lovely, really thick, and the illustrations were beautiful, but it was the wonkiest story about this kid who has a dog, and the dog just kind of wanders out at night, like some dogs in the country do. And one night he follows it. And it turns out that his dog is like kind of the mafia boss of dogs. And he gets into a limousine with this like really, sexy French poodle and goes to like a poker club. And I just thought, if a company will publish a book this weird, like maybe they would take a chance on, a mom in Chicago with, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that book is, if you can find it, it's really fun and hilarious.
Yeah.
Nina did a beautiful job on it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, I have to give credit, honestly. Like, it's been amazing just interacting with Chronicle, and I've interacted a lot with Eva Zimmerman, and it's just
yeah, I love Eva.
Oh, it's just been amazing. Great. Like, so supportive. And always just so reachable, and I've appreciated it. And many books that she suggested, like, oh, here's this one, and I look at them just like, this is so amazing, and so that has allowed me to share a lot more here too.
Oh yeah.
Thinking about that too, you wrote that one. The journey has moved, and we've had, New York Times bestsellers in there, 7 at this point. Like, how does that feel? And then, how do you pick yourself up to write another book after that, or does that actually spur you on? Because you're thinking, how, like, I'm thinking like you're the Cristiano Ronaldo of books right now. Like, so how do you pick yourself up to bring in a performance again?
Yeah, I early on tried not to let the pressure of the previous book's success. And I remember when Tom and I were writing older than I and far more experienced in the literary world than I. And I said, Tom, I just worry that this book won't do as well as Goodnight Construction Site. And he said, oh, Sherry, don't worry. It won't. And I think then you just kind of go, okay, I do this because I love it. And I very much am a child, and I think, like, having raised 2 little boys, I think I do write for my audience. I do write thinking, what would my kids have loved to see?
Yes.
What would have interested them? So, the Roto and Roy thing, this very superhero vibe there, lots of vehicular coolness with the helicopter and what it can do. And, it's got pulleys and it can do all sorts of cool things.
Yeah.
And Roy is very brave. When I wrote Road Crew, I just remember how fascinated my sons were when we'd go past a construction site, like when we were on the highway, and the grader and the scraper and the water truck, and how cool they thought that was.
Yeah.
So that's, I feel very blessed. I'm never out of ideas. I'm more often out of time.
Oh, no.
My life is busy,
long may that continue.
Yeah. So I have ideas. I just need the time to clear the schedule and sit and focus and, map them out. But I have other ideas. I'm excited to see if Chronicle's interested in them and what will be next. So, yeah.
Have you ever, you mentioned that, you've not been out of ideas but then have you ever had ideas where you have that writer's block, or just like, how do I move it from here? How do I, and some of them, because your book have rhyme to them. They have, like, how do you get, like, maybe stored or just
stumped?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I will say, first of all, that not every one of my ideas is great. And not every book I write is a hit, for sure. So I put that out there just because I know it seems very, maybe easy, but I definitely have written whole books that have, gone nowhere.
Yeah.
But once I get an idea and I kind of map it out, I do get tangled. I never want to not say what I want to say, because I can't make it rhyme. So it's really a lot of sort of deconstructing the thought and deconstructing the individual words,
Yeah.
and to try to see if I can find other words or complementary words or to get that rhyme to hit. I mean, obviously sometimes you're not going to get something to rhyme with something, so you've got to restructure the sentence to try to get it to hit the way you want.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I really do envision it as a big complex jigsaw puzzle and trying to kind of put it all together the right way.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And how was it when you first, got that New York bestseller tag? Or like, where were you, like, how, like how do they share that kind of news?
I know it was very surreal. It still is. But it obviously that tag changes everything, right? And it's always been more important to me. I used to joke that I was the Bon Jovi of children's books. Like, the critics hated me, but the fans loved me. The critics don't hate me, but sometimes they aren't very nice.
No.
It's Kirkus. They're whatever. But it's always been more important to me that my message has resonated with the kids, that the kids have loved it, that, so yeah, that's, but it's an honor. I'm beyond, beyond blessed and grateful for my fans, mostly the Juice Box crowd fans who've just been so amazing and sweet and have taken their parents along on this journey, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I'll go back to the question of, had you, like, I know you mentioned your kids being fascinated with construction sites and so on, but did you have an idea of, like, I'm sure you did, like, machinery, but also how much have you had to study as you've been developing this series?
Yeah, initially, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, my 2/3-year-old was kind of my tech advisor when I wrote that first book. Now, I did obviously do fact checking and whatever, but boy, he was the one that would say, "Mom, it doesn't really work like that," or whatever. And the inspiration for the 5 main trucks were the 5 trucks that he was most enamored with.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that sense, that piece of it kind of wrote itself. Now, as the series has gotten, more diverse, so my brother actually is an engineer, designer, and he monitors construction at Caltrans. So he was the one that helped me a lot with the road crew, because it's what he does day in and day out. It is amazing how intelligent children are. And I think their minds are more clear because they're not worried about what to make for dinner or how to pay the mortgage. They see things so purely, right? Like, I think they see things that we miss, that, they're so astute about, and their passions are so strong.
It is.
And their passions become our passions, because if your child loves dinosaurs or loves, whatever it is, fairies or sharks, or you learn everything about that, because they just sponge it all up. And so you're providing all of this information. And I mean, I know kids that know, every single dinosaur and what it's called and how to pronounce the name. And so the parents do too, right? So yeah, their passions become our passions, which is kind of a lovely and unexpected ride when you think about it, right? Like how you're taken on this journey with them, through them.
I have friends, I see them, they're, at soccer games, they're driving to all these places, and it's just like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, because it's like constant shuffling between. And just you take on those passions.
Love, right? You want to give them, you want to fill them with what gives them joy. And I think for me, fortunately, a lot of kids like trucks. but yeah, that's it's kind of a lovely. It's a pretty amazing and lovely way to make a living, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
No, that's great. And you brought us joy, honestly. I think um and I'm sure those who know the construction site series or who know your books, like people love them. They really bring joy. They are fun books. And every household I've been to, you're going to find at least one. And it's just, I think, speaks to how relatable it is and how good of a job you've done on that. And so, like it's really like I appreciate them. I love them. And even when I've shared them, it's interesting too, because sometimes I just bring a copy of these books into even a fourth grade class that I have now, and still you just see all these kids that just gravitate to them and still want to pick those up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's love, and the thing I haven't forgotten is I remember the awe of, my child looking at a truck, the size, the sound, the
Hmm.
capability of it. They're superheroes to these kids. Um, they don't so much see the operator inside, they see
Yes.
this truck as sort of its own personality, as having its own capability, and
Mhm.
it's, um
I never thought about it like that, but now that you're saying it, I'm like, yeah.
yeah, there's like such a sense of awe, the way that they have when they love dinosaurs or sharks or,
Mhm,
whatever
mhm.
it is, koala bears or fairies or
Yeah.
whatever. There's this passion for, that I don't want to forget that that's what they see,
Yeah.
because, I ultimately want to make them happy in what
Yeah.
they read from me. So, yeah.
Oh, well, just like Bowden says, I'm sure there are many out there that feel like that, just love that series. And even for us big kids out here, we're here. Well, Sherry, too, like I know you. Oh, sorry, you had something to share.
No, no, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm just so
Yeah, I know
touched.
that. Oh, yeah, I know that you come from Chicago too, or you're in that area. And Chicago has so many great writers that come from there. We talked about Tom Lichtenheld coming from close by, and others. How has that helped you in your writing journey? How has that helped you having such a strong literary community?
The support system is pretty amazing, and I think when I was first starting out, especially, there were, so many people so far ahead of me with lovely advice, encouragement. Um, yeah, and there's never, Andrea Beatty is nearby me, and she's amazing and encouraging, and there are not very many people that I'm not one of those people that works with a critique group, but I
Mm,
do have a few select friends that I would feel comfortable sending things to get some feedback. Andrea is
mm.
one of them. Amy Krauss Rosenthal, when she was here with
Yeah.
us,
Oh,
she would it really helped me with, one of my books, called, oh my gosh, it's so funny, Silly Wonderful You, because I was just having a hard time finishing it, like how to end it, and,
yeah.
so yeah, there have been uh, definitely some angels along the way here, with in terms of fellow authors and illustrators that have come
Yeah.
into my life. So yeah, it's been great.
Oh, that's awesome. And then too, I know, like like we were saying, you have quite a few of the Christmas books right now. What do the holidays mean to you, and how how much joy does it bring you writing those books?
Yeah, so I really remember that magical, excited feeling of Christmas coming. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the music. I loved the decorations. I loved everything. The anticipation, so that I still, my oldest son and I are still that way. Now, my husband and my youngest son are more, but my oldest son came home from college with a box of presents all wrapped for his family. And
Oh,
just like as excited as I am about like the decorations and the beauty of the season. Um,
yeah.
and I'm a person of faith, so that message is
Hmm.
not lost on me either. I just
Yeah.
think I just love the whole thing. I love the
Yeah.
whole thing. I know it's over commercialized. I know it's stressful. I get it. But there is like this sort of like ball of excitement in my stomach the
Yeah,
entire
yeah, no, I can relate to that for sure. And growing up for me it was the same, just the music, everything, and also I think also just that emphasis on family time
yeah,
and being with family is just so important. And when you look at the past year plus that we've had, it's just
yeah.
such it's so great to have that community stuff that brings community together.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
many people are separated from their families, or,
Mm-hmm.
I know Europe is on a new lockdown, so we're so blessed to have people we love around us always, but you're especially aware of it this time of year, I think, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
and
yeah, I have,
just
what, 3 Christmas books, 12 Sleighs and
yes.
Construction Side on Christmas Night, and now this new one, yeah. I'm pretty into Christmas, pretty into it. I'm actually
Yeah, and I know too that what are you up to with your family this time of the year?
Yeah, well, tonight we're supposed to have 14 people for dinner.
That's
And then we
amazing. Yeah.
we tradition so, church tonight has been it's a little, we're not sure. There's been a little outbreak in our community, so we have the
Okay, so
option of doing
yeah,
online church, of watching it virtually. We might
yeah.
do that this year. And then
Mhm.
tomorrow morning is traditionally when we get up and open our gifts and
Yeah.
hang around in our pajamas all day and watch Christmas movies.
Aw.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so nice. So it just sounds amazing. And does your neighborhood, does your street, are you the house with all the
Oh
decorations?
yeah, our whole cul-de-sac. Um,
Yeah.
we all decorate, which I love, and we have a new family that I think last year they went, "Ooh, we're behind," and this year they like they went for it. So yeah, oh, it's ridiculous. It's a little insane button flicks on me, and I just, yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it. I feel it coming on, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden I like, I'll say, do we have any artificial snow? And my husband's like, no, and why? So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I also just thinking about how you do decorations and stuff. Is your street one of those? Do people come to see it?
No, it's not that elaborate. No, we do have some of those streets nearby,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
No, that's awesome. And just for those joining in, just a reminder that we're joined by New York Times best-selling author Sherri Duskey Rinker, and we just read her latest book, Construction Site, Merry and Bright. This lovely book. It will make your day merry. It will make it bright indeed. So please do find this one where you find books. And of course, find it at your local libraries. Please use those. And at the school libraries, if they don't have them, request them, ask that they bring them in. And so you can get to enjoy them some more. But Sherri, too, uh, one of the other things that you've mentioned is that you have these books, these upcoming books.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited about those. But then, are there any others that you're already working on? Are there ideas that are already like, oh, I need to put this down, write this down right now?
Yes. And in fact, I just sent a new manuscript off to my editor. Whether or not she'll like it, I'm not sure. But yeah, I actually have 3 in queue that I am working on. So yeah, and so my first sort of young reader novel for young readers came out last year, and the sequel this year, the Rever the Speedway Squirrel story. And I think there's a book for a little older audience that's been
Uh-huh.
wanting to be um oh, thank you. Wanting to be written. It's starting to sort of poke at me. So I think I may very likely spend the last part of the year trying to work through that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
No,
that's
Christy,
amazing.
thank you for your kind words. That's so lovely.
Yeah, no, Chrissy and Bowden, they're amazing. And honestly, like, you know, we've talked like earlier before we came on, we were talking about how, you know, Storytime came about, and just the energy that I've gotten from the community has just been so amazing. You know, we talk about community pushing you through, pushing you forward, and I've honestly been, every time I've felt that energy, that good energy, and just, you know, like it feels like a pat on the back every time, and just like, yeah, I want to be here and just want to go on. And thanks to creators like yourself.
Oh, you know, I will say that after having lived a good 20 plus years in advertising and leaving that field, you know, granted, the children's literary world is still a business, and obviously everyone would like to make a living, but it is also wrapped up with this beautiful bow of wanting to bring something meaningful to children, wanting
Mm-hmm.
to improve literacy, wanting to make something beautiful and lasting. I can't think of any industry that employs so many fine artists who still work traditionally, you know, canvas and watercolor. And it's a really, you know, the desire to bring artistic images and to, you know, sort of help visual literacy.
Yeah.
There's just nothing like that industry, I think. And I'm glad that they're supporting you and all that you do, because what you do is lovely and important, and
Wow.
also just really fun.
It is a lot of fun, honestly. Like the amount of books that I'm accumulating here, and every time it's like each one is special. And so when I think of like, oh, I need to take this to my class, like, okay, I'll buy an extra 2 copies of this and take it to my class. I'll keep this one here. And it's just like, yeah, there's so many of those. I know that you've worked with amazing, you know, like creators. You mentioned artists. We know we've talked about A.G. Ford, you know, and the energy that he brings, his own, you know, little ones. So they're also inspiring that. And then you've teamed up with Tom Lichtenheld to write and also to illustrate, but also just wondering in that, are there authors out there that you've thought, oh, I would love to work with that person, or, you know, like I'd love to collaborate with that person, or artists? You know, like I was just thinking too, as you mentioned, because Chrissy has amazing art too. Like just, you should definitely check out her Instagram. But in that too, like, yeah, like how have you are there any of those that you think, oh, I'd love to work with that person?
Yes, I have wanted to work with Lauren Long forever. I've chased him mercilessly. We're friends, so he'll hopefully find that funny. He knows. For a while, I sent him a manuscript a month to see if I could lure him.
Yeah.
And, you know, he actually was interested in maybe doing the Roto and Roy, but he's so busy.
Yeah.
I think Juji Morales is amazing. I would love to work with her. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of amazing talent out there that a lot of artists on my wish list that I would love to have help me make something beautiful. And yeah, there's who wrote Drum Dream Girl. Oh my gosh, his name
Yes.
I've been chasing him forever. Rafael Lopez.
Yes.
Rafael Lopez. Amazing, beautiful work.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Yeah, there are some. Oh, and Equa Holmes. Come on, she is unbelievable. Like,
yeah.
her work, I would hang it in my house. It's so gorgeous.
I remember having this conversation, Sherry, as you mentioned, like having work up in your house. And I've had this conversation. I can't remember if it was Chrissy or somebody else, but we talked about how, you know, you have these galleries.
Yeah.
They're just so amazing. And each one has words to accompany the picture, you know, like to just share. And I love it too. And I have, you know, Santo Nagara's work up in here. I have Grant Snyder's work up as well. And it's just like, it is beautiful artwork. And even Minal Patel, who's done Priya Loves Marigold and Masala, and great art. And I just had an interaction with her, and recently just got some pieces from her as well, which is just like, I want this art in my place.
I mean, how great to give children like a piece of that, right? I have all sorts of issues with America. And one of my biggest ones is that we don't generally prioritize the arts, right? Like I think,
Yes.
there's a loftiness about it where in European countries it's just very much part of your culture, and part of what life is about is surrounding yourself with beautiful things, and having an artistic eye. And I we don't to that degree have that here. And in
Yes.
fact, when we're going to cut programs, what gets cut, it's art and music and those things. And so, I mean, how fortunate that this industry still has that high level aesthetic, and still has the desire to give children beautiful images to look at in all sorts of different styles, and to help them develop a visual intelligence that I think if it were left to many of our government authorities, we would not care at all, right? So I love that we prioritize, poetry and beauty and art.
Yeah, no, as speaking as an educator too, and especially working at a Title I school in a district that's just sometimes seems so dysfunctional. It is, somebody recently mentioned, they said we need to stop calling them enrichments.
Yes,
it always makes them sound like they're this extra thing.
Extra, right?
It's like, oh yeah, no, we need this extra thing that is there. No, the PTA can fund that. Like, we don't have a PTA that can do that. Why not fund it? Because those are programs that are needed. We have, like, right now in my class, we have a 30-minute music program, a 30-minute music program for the week, and it's violin. And sometimes the kids go in and they have to tune the violins or do whatever, and time is gone. And it's just like, how do we get our kids exposed to all the different things that they need? Because not everybody is going to go into the same field. We need everybody, like, trying to find, like, dip their toes into as many things as possible. So I agree with you a lot. And I just feel like when decisions are made like that, it's just so disappointing. It's like, how...
And you and I can talk about this offline over dinner sometime. I will tell you my biggest passion, my biggest criticism of our government is that we do not prioritize education. We leave that up to the states. Here in Illinois, the government pays, I think, 7.5% of the educational bill, and the rest is left up to the state. So you leave this in the hands of a multitude of states with a multitude of different mindsets. You allow the wealthier communities to have better schools. And there's no other industrialized nation that does it that way, that does not have a standard quality education across the board to give every one of their kids, regardless of their economic status, a fighting chance. And this has gone on for decades. I don't understand what it will take for America to realize that, that child at that Title I school deserves the same opportunity as the kids in, these wealthier North Shore suburbs of Chicago. But as an author, I see the discrepancy. I'm often, the schools that can afford to have me are often very, very affluent, and they have absolutely everything. And I might be the 5th author they've had that year. And then I'll go to a school in a more rural area or a more impoverished area. And that will be a school that has, some great, librarian that has a grant to have me in, or, the PTO has saved for 4 years to bring an author. And
so as you're speaking that, I'm just like,
It just
Mm.
I will see libraries that have, a stock that rivals community libraries. And I was at a school
Mhm.
library in Jackson, Mississippi, and my kids have more books in their bedrooms than this school library had. It's not right. It's not fair. And the people will say, well, the change starts at home. And I'm like, well, you know what, that might be true, but we as a society can't control that. But what
Yes.
we can control is the quality of education these kids receive.
You
And we
see,
do that by
and
honoring the teachers and paying them a living wage and attracting the best of the best and giving kids and teachers the resources that
Mhm.
they need, for a fighting chance. And I'm telling you, this is my passion. This is my,
Yeah.
because I firsthand see the discrepancy, and it is not okay with me. And I don't know how it's okay with this world. I really don't.
Yeah.
But it
No,
is,
it's
right?
it always amazes me because like you're mentioning too, like with highly like the money is there, and to see it sometimes going into so many different things where it's just like, can we really please put this into education? Please put this into
Into
like
the
I have the
future of
classroom
our
where
country, right? Into the future strength
yeah,
of our country.
yeah,
How do we expect to ever, yeah, and it's part of that rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and um yeah, it's a source of great mourning and frustration for me.
mm,
I don't know. I don't know how we as a society step up and begin to say this isn't okay.
right,
The federal government needs to set high standards and create a level of consistency across the board that gives every kid a fighting chance, and pays our teachers a decent wage and allows that to be a respectful, lucrative profession. So we
yes.
attract so it's not a sacrificial job. I feel like teachers are like, nuns. Like they commit themselves to a life of poverty, and
Yeah,
uh, it's just not okay. Anyway, yeah,
yeah.
not
No, this
bring the
this
room
like
down, people.
no,
Sorry.
like no, like Chrissy and Olaolu are mentioning, these are important topics, and this is, like, and personally, this is something that I've complained about, and I really hold dear. And even at my school, at one point where there was talk of, like maybe we should remove the violin and so on lesson. I was just like, no, you cannot do that. Like
Yeah,
we need to have that. Like this is so for some of these kids, this is the only opportunity that they might have to be exposed to an
right,
art like this. And
right.
like who knows what interest is developed from here. And so just yeah,
Right.
no, I agree with you. And I think we need to reevaluate. Growing up in Zambia, like I mean, as you know, like Zambia, a very poor country, but but we still had, when I went to school, I had the arts. I
Yeah,
had like the wood workshop was there, the metal workshop was there. It
right,
was things that you just took for granted. It's like, oh, this is how it is. It is a part of
right.
school. It's just so much a part of school. You didn't think of education and say, oh, there's the corn and these other things. It just felt like everything
It's a
was
part of the whole plan.
yes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And school librarians are viewed as sort of this like
Oh yeah.
LRC directors. Right before the pandemic, I was working on a website with Bob Stein, R.L. Stein, the Goosebumps writer,
Hmm.
um, because both of us are, passionate believers that these schools need not only well-stocked libraries, but well-trained librarians to
Yeah.
help the kids find what they're looking for and to teach, computer literacy and to teach them how to find actual facts on the
Hmm.
internet versus
Hmm.
all. There's such a value and a need for that, and yet school districts, yeah,
No,
and
and I'll speak to that, Sherry, too. Like you bring out that point. My school, we had to put out, I think a couple of years ago, we had to put out a GoFundMe for our librarians so we could afford to keep them. And
yeah,
even then, we're only keeping them part time. Like they're only part time there. And also to think like, what is what does it mean for their job security if every year they have to think like, oh, am I coming back? Is my position going to be there? And it's just like this constant struggle. And then
yeah,
also like the difference I've seen from the time we did not have a librarian at the school, just
yeah,
how at one point there's an organization that came through and put in some books. There were books that were old, and you know, you look at them, you're like, this should not be in a children's library anymore.
Right.
And you know, like books that are just not moved with the time, that
Right.
do not recognize, you know, like the times that we're living in. And so it's just like so much. But now we have a librarian, and thank you, I love her to bits. Jen Beda, thank you for all the work that you do. She has changed our school in terms of just the library. Kids look forward to going to the library. When we go in, it's organized, and she's always pushing books on us and like, hey, Peter, did you see this book? You should try it. I think you really like this one, and so on. And so it really builds that as well into, you know, like that culture, the reading culture in the classroom, but also the reading culture among the teachers. Like, oh, I should try this with my class. My librarian says it's good.
Yeah. Well, there have been studies done, you know, and I've been gathering these in preparation for that website, about the test scores of schools with librarians, about just an overall ethos of kindness that exists in a school where books are shared and read and discussed. Yeah, the things that we view as sort of extra or unneeded, our priorities are, I'm saddened by them, but I'm fighting for change. So
no, absolutely. And that's what we can keep doing, you know. We can work for the next generation. We can work for, hopefully, you know, we see some of that work come true today, but you know, like also we're building for that future, for a better tomorrow, for sure.
I agree. And things like that you're doing, Peter, bringing books in this way, in this format, in this accessible, free format, with a positivity and an energy and a joyfulness. You're making change in a beautiful, lovely way. So I'm happy to always to be here if you ask me to be, and to support you in what you're doing. You're doing lovely, wonderful things. So good for you.
No, thank you so much, Sherry. I really appreciate, you know, like just hearing that passion and also what you're doing. And also just thank you for bringing the smiles, for being a part of so many families, maybe, you know, like maybe more than you may even realize, you know, like just there's kids in every corner of the country, every corner of the globe that are looking at these books and, you know, getting to enjoy, and just families come together around them.
And that's such an honor and a blessing to think that in some small way I might be a part of that shared experience of reading between parents and children or siblings, or it's an unbelievable blessing. So thank you for saying that. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
This has been a
Nice
pleasure, really. This is Olaolu, an author out of he's right now. I
agree. He should be on television. He should be.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. But you know, I know that we've talked about this issue, and I'm glad that we did. Thank you, you know, for bringing that out. And Chrissy and Olaolu and everybody that is listening in out there too, thank you for your contributions. I think it's amazing that you know, we feel this conversation should be out. We feel these things should be moving forward, and hopefully that, you know, we actually see change. And yeah, thank you so much. But also, Sherry, you know, like just as you leave, I know that we have one of my favorite things to do, and which I think we found out that we're both kind of like it, is watching those dancers.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Don't you? I forgot that we connected on that. Oh my word, I could watch them forever.
I know. Aubrey Fisher and what's the other guy's name? I'm blanking out on the other name.
Slavic?
Yes, Slavic, yes.
Slavic, yeah, he's great. Yes. Oh my gosh, they just make my day.
Yeah, if you don't follow them on Instagram, I know I'll plug them here too. Just follow them, and it'll definitely, you know, like make you smile. Their moves are amazing. Yeah, and every time I watch, it's just like, yeah, I always do that. Yeah, because we've connected over that as well. It's always a laugh.
I forgot about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Any, you know, like I mean, you say so many profound things, but anything before we say goodbye?
Oh, we all just need to keep fighting for the next generation, for their education, for their planet, for their arts, for their world. That's really where our priority. Fight for the kids. Fight for the kids in the foster system, and fight for the kids who are getting the same level of
Mhm.
education and fight to keep their world safe. So,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I think, many of us were parents, right? That's what we do, just
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
by sort
No.
of instinct, right? But yeah.
Oh, thank you, Sherry. Absolutely appreciate, having you here today. And also just,
Thank you,
that,
Peter. So
yeah,
fun.
it is amazing. And like I just want you to have an amazing Christmas. And of
Oh,
course I'll
same
catch you.
here, my
Please
friend.
don't leave yet. I will catch you for sure on the other side of this. But
Okay, I'll
for
stay. So
everybody,
I'm staying. Okay, gotcha.
yes.
Okay.
On everybody that was joining in story time today, that was a conversation we're having with Sherri Dusky Rinker. I hope you enjoyed it, and of course lots of great topics that came up in that. And I hope that we see schools that are equitable. We see, like Chrissy, like you mentioned, I absolutely hope that we can see schools that are more equitable, and also that we have classrooms where these things like the arts, music, everything, vocational kind of trade stuff is available, and we do not have to scrounge around and trying to begging for these things to be available. So please, thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Great conversations that you all brought here today. Absolutely appreciate it. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas, and of course Christmas Eve. I hope that you are able to be with family, and I hope that everyone stays safe. Please do follow the health guidelines, and let us, as much as possible, enjoy this time that we have. Thankful that we're able to be here, that we're able to have family, that we're able to enjoy time together. Thank you so much for being here on Story Time. And of course, I will see you in not next week, but the week after. I'll be taking a week off next week to enjoy a little bit of a break and also just do some other work. But we'll definitely be back with more Story Time. So please stay tuned. Keep tuning in. And of course, if you want more Story Time, go back to our archives and enjoy all the amazing books that we have on there. And of course, I hope that your place where you are has a library that you can go and get books, and other places that you can find books if you're able. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. It has been a wonderful pleasure indeed. Wishing you a Merry Christmas, and of course, hoping for a better 2022. Yes, even though this year might have been great for you, I'm still wishing you an even better 2022. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you again in 2 weeks. Not this coming week, but the next week after. So the 3rd of January, we'll be back with more Story Time. But for next week, there'll be more stories that will be posted here. We'll go back to some of our favorites and bring them back for the entire week, so you can enjoy some of those stories that we've already shared here on Story Time. Why not? They are that good, right? Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Absolutely love it. Hugs and kisses to each and every one of you. Merry Christmas, and I will see you again on the 3rd of January. Thank you so much. Much love. Bye-bye. And of course, a big thank you today to Sherri Dusky Rinker for the amazing conversation, amazing reading, and of course, the wonderful joy that she's continued and will continue to bring to all our lives. Thank you so much for being here. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be story time. Ooh, story time. Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.